This morning, a press conference was held at the Pôle de Développement Durable with Vice President Guillaume Arnel and the Director of Transportation, Mrs. Marilyn Hughes Richards, concerning the public opinion on transportation of the island. One option being looked at is carpooling, the sharing of cars' journeys so that more than one person travels in a car. Along with other factors, carpooling reduces traffic congestion and the need for more parking spaces.
Yes, this press conference was held this morning in order to ask, first of all, our population to bear with us and play the game with the enquêteurs that would be on the field as from the 10th of August throughout 10 days. The purpose of this inquiry is to gather information about the habits of the people in terms of ground transportation, whether it be buses, taxis, businesses, and personal vehicles. What are your habits? Where do you go often? What are the complications that you meet within those functions when you want to go to shop, whether you want to go to a recreational facilities or whatnot. And the purpose of this is it had to be done within as an additional segment to the PLU. And a deliberation that was taken on mid-March 2016 have afforded us that possibility. First of all, to have 10 persons in a 10 days period in order to gather those information from the public. The budget that is allocated is approximately around 50,000 euros, including everything, which means we should not exceed that amount, and not that it is specifically the strict amount. What needs to be said is that this is a must in order for us to, first of all, provide proper safety and security on our public transportation, and even on our ways of moving around. The second purpose for that is that we need to gear ourselves into what is the concern of the new world in terms of sharing public transportation or sharing personal transportation, sharing parking areas. Of course, the zone bleu is not enough to eradicate the problem of stationing. And of course, what we need to understand too is that we are part of the world, and therefore St. Martin needs to play its role in the preservation of our environment. And most of the times in the morning and even at evening, when you look at the line of vehicles, most of the vehicles are having only one or two persons. So therefore, it is also an indication to our people to know whether or not they are willing to adhere to the concept of sharing their vehicles and sharing the roads. Sharing their vehicles is taking someone, your neighbor, alternatively, once it is your turn and the next week it's the other person's turn, but also considering sharing the road with the pedestrians, with the bicycles, with the motorbikes, so that everybody have their fair share of what is possible. There is a point in the inquiry that is asking also, how do you pursue the concept of a bicycle park? You know, in other countries, the distance are much longer, but I think here too, maybe if we get into the concept, not copying exactly the behaviors of other places, but I think it would serve two purposes. It would alleviate the traffic situation, and second to that, it would get us a little bit more fit in what we're doing. Now, most people would say yes, but in other countries it's cold, and here the heat is a negative factor. But I think that we can adjust certain things to meet the needs of the community. Maybe only on weekend we can do it, or maybe, I don't know, during the month of July and August, I don't know. Those are some of the things that we are willing to have as a return from the population. And in conclusion, I hope simply that the population would give those people that would be on the fields more so in Marigot area, because it's here we have the most of the problem. But the inquiry concerns the entire territory. And of course, 10 days period from August 10th to August 20th. And after that, online, you would be able, until the month of September, the end of September, at home, you can easily access to the same document and fill it out at your own convenience. And therefore, we would be able to have a database that would be enough to give us an indication of what the people would like to see happen in their community. And of course, we would have the obligation then to take it into consideration and bring it to realization and make at least the people realize that we are taking their consideration or their wishes, because we cannot do that without their concern. We are doing this for them, with them, and it cannot be done without them. So therefore, I'm asking each and every one to give the best reception to our enquêteurs, and of course, quickly, the questionnaire won't exceed a minute or two, because they are prepared to ask the question very fastly. And just hope that we would gather a sufficient database that would be exploitable in terms of data to be able to respond to the needs.
10 surveyors will be on the road with a questionnaire for the public to answer. Here is Mrs. Hughes Richards explaining how to recognize the surveyors.
In order to recognize the surveyor, we would call him, they're going to be dressed specifically. First of all, they're going to have a badge with their picture and names, and they'll have a T-shirt that indicates the logo of the collectivité, as well as their cap, the logo of the collectivité, and the mention enquête déplacement transport. There'll be 10 of them. They're going to be working by teams of 2 in the 5 different sectors that we have determined. There'll be 5 sectors. First hand, there'll be the sector of the gare routière, of the bus terminal, sorry. Then there's the Grand Cars area. As far as the Grand Cars area is concerned, it's Grand Cars, the airport area, and Hope Estate, commercial zone as well. Then a third sector is the Concordia sector. Of course, there's a lot of housing in Concordia, but they would be focusing their attention on the public administrative services that exist in the Concordia area, where there tends to be a lot of people, that would go to those different offices for information, for whatever. So they're going to be gathered, focusing, around those administrative areas in Concordia. Then there's the OL Center, that's our 4th sector, which is quite a, quite a busy business district. And last but not least is the Marigot area that would comprise the waterfront area, the West Indies area, as well as the center of town, the whole town, up to Rue de Hollande. They would have to focus their attention and survey the passers-by in that whole area as well. Those information are going to be regrouped per question. There'll be an application put to our disposal at the Transportation Department in order to analyze the different answers that have been rendered, but it's going to be done by a computer system. It's not going to be done manually. As far as the particular problem with Concordia is concerned, we don't need the survey for that. We already know the problem. We have discussed about it interiorly with the elected officials, with the technicians that are involved, as well as myself, of course. What we are looking into seriously to solve the problem with the way the buses operate, the bus operate in Concordia. Actually, they seem to be more absent than anything. You would not believe that they're on paper 16 persons that have the permission to do Sandy Ground, Marigot, either via the Concordia route next to the Farmer Gendarmerie or via the Collège and the Lycée route. There's 16 of them. And today, if there are 2 that are operating, there's no one else. So I think one of the major problems, and we're trying to find a solution to that, hopefully for September, is to find a location where we can inform the public. If you need to go into Concordia, or if you need to leave Concordia area, here is your point of, here's where you gather. Here's where you meet the buses. We are lacking drastically a point of, like a terminal, should I say, where the buses who do Concordia, who serve Concordia, are supposed to station, and where the people who want to move around in or out of Concordia are supposed to meet. I think this is, this is what's missing, and that is going to help tremendously to solve the problem and to see really who is working from who is not working, and eventually to transfer licenses and to give permits to people that are willing to serve for that area.